Well, what is up, movement? My name is Sam, and we are in week 1 of our series called None of Your Business. And today, we're going to talk about how to have the friends, how to get the friends, how to keep the friends that we've always wanted. Now, I understand that some of us might think, man, friends, that's none of God's business. On Sunday, that's God's business. Maybe when I'm in movement or at home, that's God's business. But it turns out that when we look to God for an idea on friendship and we follow His roadmaps on friendship, it actually goes a whole lot better for us, and that's what I want. I don't want to see our students, I don't want to see you friendless this year. I want to see you with the friends that last, the ones that you can, stick with you, the ones that love you, care for you, that you can laugh with, watch games with, and send memes to. I want to see that for you. And we're going to take a look at a few different ways that we can start to gain the friends that we've always wanted to have. But first, I kind of want to talk to you real straight, movement. I understand that some of us are in a season that's really, really tough. Right? The school year is piling up on us. Maybe homework is piling up on us. Perhaps you've had your first heartbreak in middle school this semester. Maybe you're struggling in such a way at home to where you're like, things are really tense. Perhaps you're not enjoying online school the way you thought you would, and things are all just starting to pile up. And it's times like that where if we actually slowed down, took a breath, paused, and understood, we would start to remember that we need good friends during times like that to get us through seasons like that. So we're going to take a look at what Peter has to say about life, but specifically about friendship as well. Peter was one of Jesus' best friends. He was one of his disciples. So I really trust Peter's example, and I trust his advice here. So we're going to take a look at how to be a great friend. Because I believe in order to have great friends, you got to be a great friend first. And there's no one better to teach us about this than the relationship of Peter and Jesus. So let's get into this. Let's dive in. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. It says this: everything in the world is about to be wrapped up. In other words, there's a crisis in Peter's life. There's a crisis. And what does he instruct us to do? What does he instruct others to do? He says, so take nothing for granted. Stay wide awake in prayer. Most of all, love each other as if your life depended on it. Love each other as if your life depended on it. What do we do in a crisis? We love all the more. So if things are piling up at you at school, if things are piling up at you at home, that's when we're designed to love all the more, Peter says. Why? Because love makes up for practically anything. He says, be quick to give a meal to the hungry, a bed to the homeless. How are we supposed to do that? Peter says, cheerfully. Be generous with the different things God has gave to you, passing them around so that all get in on it. If it's words, in other words, if you're a gifted speaker, give words. Let it be God's words. If help, let it be God's help. That way, God's bright presence will be evident in everything you do through Jesus. Here's what Peter's saying. Love people with all you have. Love them with all you have. Run towards them at full speed with the love of Jesus. Now, in Matthew 22, it says that Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your passion, all your prayer, all your intelligence. This is the most important and the first thing on the list for us to do. And I believe that when we are loving the Lord our God with all of our heart, our soul, our mind, our strength, that means completely, totally devoted, and we're loving our friends, we're running at them full speed, that we're going to have friendships that aren't just forced. Y'all ever have a forced friendship before? We're not going to have forced friendships, but instead they're going to be formed on the love of Jesus. Let me tell you a little story about what it looks like to run full speed. I was going for a walk with my dad one night. I was about I think I was in 4th or 5th grade. He and I were walking down a road in our neighborhood, nothing scary, but it was dark out. So for those of you who don't know, growing up, I really couldn't see too good, and I definitely couldn't see too good at night, right? So we're walking down a dark road at night, and I'm a few feet in front of my dad. and I start to hear, I can't really see what's in the bushes, but I start to hear rustling in the bushes. And automatically I get scared, like white hot fear all over my body. And I'm thinking, surely there's a rabid dog in the bushes. He's gonna come out and chew on my leg. Like surely there's a lion or a tiger or something's gonna come out of those bushes and it is going to grab me and eat me. So what do? After I'm done freezing from fear, I spin around and book it back to my dad. I jump into his arms, grab him tight, and I'm scared. I'm like, there's something in those bushes, help! And now, was I guilty of being accidentally overdramatic? Yes. It was an armadillo up there, so there was no harm that could potentially be done to me. But that's what it was like for me to run full speed, as if everything depended on it. That's what Peter is instructing us to do when it comes to loving our friends. If we're going through a crisis, love them all the more. As well as if you see your friends going through a crisis, love them all the more. Now, the next thing Peter instructs us to do is to give. And to give cheerfully. And I understand that a lot of us might think, you know what, I haven't been given that much. But listen, we are only instructed to give what God has given to us. And make no mistake about it, if you're thinking that thought right now, well, God hasn't given me much, that's a lie from the enemy. He's given you a whole lot. I know y'all might be thinking right now, well, you know what, I'm not the best looking person, or at least other people have told me that. You know what, I'm not the smartest person. I don't have like a pool in my backyard or a trampoline in my backyard. I don't have the right gaming system. I don't have the right clothes. I might not go to the school that everybody that's cool goes to. I might not have what other people have. Maybe other people have called me too tall, too short, too heavy, too thin, too smart, not smart enough. And all of those things start to swell into our mind and to rush into our head. And all of a sudden, we're more focused on what we don't have rather than what God has given us. And let me tell you, when we start to experience those thoughts, those are lies from the enemy that will rob us of friends that we can potentially gain and love that Jesus wants to send our way. Because in reality, we have things that God has given us. Maybe you have a great smile, great personality. One of my best friends has a phenomenal personality. Every time I see him, I leave happier than when I was like not seeing him, right? So when he walks in a room, I'm like, whatever. And then when he's gone, I'm like, that dude is so awesome. I'm pumped for the rest of the day. I see this guy every single Monday, and I'm about to go hang out with him right now. And literally, it's awesome. His gift is his personality, and he gives that to me all the time. Maybe you do have, a superior intelligence to some people. You're just smart, you're gifted, you're sharp. I would encourage you, tutor other people. Tutor them. If you see somebody that's struggling in math or in English or at school, you could go, you know what, I could make a friend based off of me just helping someone. This happened in Movement a few weeks ago. I was talking with a few students, and somebody let me know, hey, I made a friend after I stood up for somebody at school. He had seen this other classmate being bullied, and he didn't do anything violent. He didn't say anything sassy or that he had to repent to Jesus for. But after what had happened, he simply went to that other classmate and said, hey, I don't think it's right that you were treated that way, and I want to be friends. And for months, those two people have been best friends. Why? Not because he had the best smile, not because he had the most money, not because he had something that he didn't have. Simply because he was willing to use what God gave him and stand up for someone. Y'all, we have things that God wants us to give away to others. Maybe it's your help. Maybe you just love being a help around the house. You love doing chores. You like helping your teachers. That's a gift from God to others that we can use to make friends. Perhaps you're great at giving advice. Give advice away. Maybe you're really good at a musical instrument, or you're great athletically. Give that away to other people. Offer to help other people with those skills. And I'll tell you this, here's what's going to happen. Instead of our friendships being forced, they're going to be formed on something that lasts. Instead of us trying to constantly feel like I need to level up in my friendships and I got to hang out with the popular people, I got to have more likes on Instagram, now I don't, and now I feel bad, and God hasn't given me what I need. If we would take account of what we do have and realize that we're supposed to give away those things and we're supposed to run towards our friends with all the love that God has given us, y'all, we will have friendships that are formed and not forced. So this week, what I want us to do at Movement and in your day-to-day life, in your weekly life, I want us to think about how can you run towards a new friend? How can you invite a friend to church? How can you run towards somebody who might not be your friend, but is on the list to become your friend? Not by scheming, not by plotting, but by going, how can I be a better friend this week? How can I show someone the love of Jesus? How can I be a good representative, a great ambassador to who Jesus is and represent the love that Peter was talking about? And I understand some of us during this time, we might think, you know what, I don't know. I have no idea the gifts that God's given me. I have no idea the talents that He's given me. I have no idea how to make, great friendships that aren't forced. Well, that's okay. That is totally okay. Because we've got this thing on Sundays called Movement, and it happens at 10 and 11:30 right here in room 405. We normally hang out, we play some games, we listen to a message, and then we get to break out into small groups. And small groups is exactly the time where you get to ask those questions. You listen to this message, you're confused about something, and you want to know how to make that connection. Come hang out with us in Movement, and we'll help you understand how to build friendships that aren't forced, but they're formed. I can't wait to see you here, Movement. Peace.